Hello everyone, welcome to GW Pro Trading. It's Quinn Michael here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you a swing trade setup I have on AUDNZD. If you're new to this channel, I recommend that you subscribe and also smash the notification bell on this channel so you'll be getting information whenever I post content such as this one. Alright, today is the 24th of November, and also early in the session today we also had it that official cash rate came in at 0.75%, raised by 0.25%, which is also 25 basis points. Also was printed from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, and that was also printed. Okay, so that was also one of the reasons we also had it that NZD today really was massively weak today, all right, because it was below market expectation. However, the consensus was also coming in on the 0.75%, but however, a lot of market participants actually were looking at a 50% increase, right, in terms of the official cash rate for Reserve Bank of Australia or Reserve Bank of New Zealand, all right, so printing that also increased, all right. So we then also saw massive weakness also coming in New Zealand today as a result of that, and that's why we can also see here printed on the NZD LFX. We also had it that price have dropped so far in the day minus 0.87%. All right, and however today we could also see that we also have minus 0.87% in terms of drop coming in with NZD, but however as well we can also see that AUD have also dropped minus 0.22%. all right, so however NZD dropped today, AUD dropped today, but however NZD dropped more. All right, so there was more of massive weakness on NZD today rather than massive strength coming into the AUD. However, this one stalled around the territory. All right, it was more of trading, more of sideways here, but against the USD also was also going down against the USD because the USD happened to be one of the strongest today against majority of the currency. So we're going to be looking at a swing trade setup and also for AUDNZD. All right, so let's just take a quick look at also the LFX, also which is also a representative of the index. All right, that also shows you the strength as to what is also happening around the index here. All right, so here is AUD LFX. All right, so AUD LFX also printed a minus 22% or a minus 22% drop today. All right, however, that cannot be compared to the minus 87% also coming in with NZD. All right, so however, on a multi-time frame analysis, we're going to look at what also is happening from a multi-time frame with NZD LFX. And we can also see that price have been more of in a bullish trend for quite some time now. And also similarly, we can also see that that also reflects also the same story for the AUD LFX. All right, so we've seen more of bullishness in price, all right, for quite a while as to that effect. All right, so we've seen that over some time, and we've also seen that we can also see that price have been trading inside of what could look like a structure such as this one. So we could say that price could also be inside of a structure, all right, for AUD LFX. All right, so we could have it that price could also be trading inside of here, and we could also start to possibly see what could also be a breakout of this structure here. All right, but however that cannot be confirmed because we had also a wave A, all right, and we have a wave B right inside of here, and we have a wave C, we have a wave B right there, and we have a wave C up here. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. All right, so we have a wave C, so we can always also see that this looks like a drop to downside. All right, this looks like a drop to downside, and if this would continue to breaking this territory here, we could as well expect that price could further extend into this territory. However, but if this territory is cleared here, we can expect that that should also further continue, and we might also find the AUD continue downside. All right, so however, for the NZD LFX, all right, so this also which looks different from this, all right, on a weekly time frame. All right, so this is what the two looks like, and this was small bullish, but this started to stall around here. All right, so we can see that we're more in the downtrend, a retracement, and the trend should also continue downside. But rather, for this one here, we had it that price have been in an uptrend, a breakout, little consolidation here, breakout, a retest of the highs, could also bounce and then continue a little bit to the upside. All right, so we could also have that in play in order to break above this previous high there, or however, if price will continue to go downward, we might also see price then create a double top inside of this zone, and then you can see that continue downward. However, what is it going to be, guys? I don't know. So we're just going to be coming up with a trade plan, also reflecting also with the AUDNZD. For this one here, what is also happening here that when also we had on a weekly time frame, when also we had that massive strength in the NZD, we also had it that AUDNZD was also making a run to downside. All right, it was also making a run to downside over that period, because we then saw AUD being weak going down, and we also had it that NZD was more of in a sideways. All right, so we didn't see that massive strength, but then we also had that massive weakness coming into the AUD. So however, if that would still continue, we did have an impulse, and we also had a corrective wave some sort, right, and we have the next impulse to downside. However, if this is complete, we might then see price then continue making upwards to the upside, all right, then creating a wave 1, a B, C for a wave 2, and then a start to the upside. All right, so however, that could also be possible, but I'm looking at a possibility that price could also drop from this high back into this low previous structure here. All right, so one of the reasons why I'm looking at that is if we go over to a multi-time analysis, we can also identify that here overall price have been in the downtrend. All right, price have been in a downtrend. All right, we've had massive drop inside of this territory, and we also could label this our A, and we could also label this our pullback as our B, and we could also label this and it's not the structure of an A, B, C to the downside, because this broke below this territory here. All right, so what we have here could also be a possible wave D, and we could also be working out a possible wave E to the downside to complete this A, B, C inside of this zone. Then we could then reevaluate for another push to the upside. All right, however, that would be a little bit long while, but for now we're going to be looking at a short-term setup, also to be able to take a swing trade from right around where we have our structure here to where we want to be, which is previous structure here. All right, so let's go over to a daily time frame, and then let's see what else is happening from a daily time frame. However, we also have the price was also trading downward. All right, so this could also be a possible correction. The price could also correct in some format here and then continue to upside. However, this could also be a massive fake out. All right, it could also be a massive fake out, because here I speak about this many of the time that if you have an impulse and suddenly you have a corrective wave and you have it that price breaks out of that structure, and you can see that the momentum cannot hold price to trade inside of that territory, then you can also expect price to further correct. And if momentum breaks this previous structure, you can expect that that could also continue taking price also downward. That was also a reflection of also what happened here, right here in this territory. You can see that price was trading more of in a channel, which was more of corrective to the impulse, correction, impulse, which could have also created this corrective wave, and then price could have exploded to the upside. However, price stalled around this territory of the ABC, which also we had right here, A, B, C, and we had that price stalled around the B leg, and we also had that price then reversed clearing this previous structure and then continuing to the downside. So this are some setup which I also look at in the market in order to be able to read price action, because price action is definitely the activity or the performance of price over a period of time, or whatever the market is doing, the change in price with respect to structures. All right, I look at structures, what is price doing? All right, and then I come to a conclusion of where I want to start placing my buy or sell orders in order to be able to achieve a certain level of risk and also to be able to achieve a certain level of profit. All right, so if that meets the 1:2 or 1:3 risks to reward trade, and I would say that that is also a good trade for me. All right, so for this one here, I want to be taking a short trade, and I want to put in my stop loss somewhere above the B leg. All right, so I want to put in my stop loss somewhere above the B leg. I put it that the whole of this territory is a liquidity zone. All right, the whole of this territory is a liquidity zone. All right, so whatever is happening in the whole of this territory, I am not going to be looking at some structures right here. I'm going to be looking at the whole of this territory as a liquidity zone. All right, so just slightly above what we could expect it. I expected this initially to be a wave A, B, C, D, and possibly an E. So whatever is happening here is the start of this massive B leg. All right, so I expect that to also continue moving to the downside. However, if you're going to be looking at some Fibonacci retracement areas here, we can also identify that the 61.8 is also in the middle of this zone, which I term as my liquidity zone. All right, so whatever is happening here, we can also see a lot of price change activities right around this area here. But however, I'm going to be looking at this as liquidity zone. So I'm going to be looking at taking a short trade right inside of this territory. All right, so I'm going to be looking at the whole of this range. From here on, we have it that we have 62 pips. All right, we can also extend it to just slightly above the 78.6, which is somewhere around here of the 83 pips. All right, we can then put that 83 pips, and then we could be looking at our target to be inside of this structure. So we're looking at our target for a target one to be around this area here, 1.0177. all right, that could be our target. All right, because I expect price to then drop from this point. If this is our first leg, I expect price to drop into that territory. So why am I looking at that as a target? I'm looking at that one from a structural perspective, because I'm looking at taking a Fibonacci extension of this structure here, this swing from this swing low to this swing high. All right, so the 127 lies inside of this territory of the 1.02 territory. All right, so I'm going to be looking at that as my TP1. I'm going to also look at price. Apart from that, I'm going to also look at previous structure here. All right, I'm going to look at previous structure here on a weekly time frame. We then also had that this was also a support. All right, this was also a support here. We also had multiple rejections here, right around here, here as well. So I would expect that price could also act like a magnet inside of this area, also looking to test this area. All right. So with that, we've set up a trading plan. We've looked at the indices, and we've also looked at the structures for this one here, and also we have a zone. All right, so this is a zone. We can then start looking for sell opportunities, and also we could expect price to drop into that territory there. All right, we could be looking at taking for a trade like this one. All right, if we go with market execution for a sell, all right, and we decide to go with 0.5, all right, and our stop loss is going to be somewhere just above this territory here. We're going to use 50 pips above this point here, which is going to be 1.0572. All right, we're going to use 1.0572. That's going to be our risk. All right, we're going to be risking this one here. So we're going to be risking $336 for this one here for a risk. Then we're going to be looking at a target inside of this area here. Right, we're going to be looking at target, a more defined target of 1.02. All right, 1.02. We're going to be looking at 1.02. right? We're looking at the defined target, and let's just go punch in what kind of trade are we going to be taking here. This is going to be 1:2.8 risk to reward trade. All right, I'm going to be taking this one because it meets the criteria for a good trade. All right, I'm going to be risking this, and I'm going to be targeting this one. All right, so this meets the criteria for a good trade and also meets for me. I'm going to be doing this one. See you next time. It's been Michael here. Subscribe, like, and also share with friends. That's going to help in the creation of more educational videos. I love you all. Remain blessed.